Hi there. I've just been asked to put together a couple of ideas in view of the fact that it's going to be Cask Week coming up shortly. That's the Thursday the 19th through to Sunday the 29th of September this year, 2024. So I thought it might be helpful just to put a couple of ideas together with regard to marketing some of the ideas, the range of beers that you might want to have on, and pricing, and finally about some of the sort of the classic tips about quality. When it comes to marketing, a lot of people tend to focus on beer, and I'd like to suggest that maybe we look at it slightly differently. Maybe look at more the festival idea of life, a bit of fun, something that actually is an occasion that actually will accompany a Cask Ale rather than be Cask Ale the focus of it. So such as things like maybe an open mic night, live music night, a quiz night, something of those things. And it's actually quite interesting. If you Google, you can actually find out all sorts of other activities that happen on appropriate days. I googled Britannia and also the appropriate day, which was the 19th of September, and I came up with all sorts of different ideas, including, believe it or not, Talk Like a Pirate Night and even Batman Day. So just think slightly outside the box, have fun, but also include another event that will help attract people to the pub to also not only have fun but enjoy great Cask Ale. When it comes to ranging, I know this is slightly controversial, but actually I'd be inclined not to remove your main selling beers. Cask Ale drinkers, I know a lot also like to try different beers, but actually an awful lot of Cask Ale drinkers like to have consistency, i.e. the beer they enjoy, and that's why they often come to the pub. Yes, absolutely, have a variety, some different styles, different types of beer, whether it be dark, whether it be light, different ABVs. But I'd be inclined just to make sure that actually they are an addition to your main offer rather than taking over the whole offer. So have some lovely beers on, but maybe one pump, maybe two pumps, depending on how many handles your pub has got. But also at the same time, just have a look at maybe if there is a risk, think about pins, 4.5 gallons, because there are a number of different beers now on offer in that. But it's certainly worth having a look. But just think about the standard bitters, maybe a lighter beer, maybe a darker beer, but do them by rotation. So once one goes, then you can also add another one if and when you need to do so. When it comes to pricing, especially if you're bringing on beers that are not normally on, i.e. guest ales, I'd be inclined to make sure that you charge an appropriate price. That may indeed be a bit of a premium, but it's important because as you'll understand, you're increasing the risk because there is a potential that you might not sell it all. So don't be afraid to put a premium on it, especially if you're thinking about bringing on beers with high ABVs. Because the cost of the beers will be that much higher, you will need to make sure that you maintain your margins by increasing the price. Also, I'm very reluctant to actually discount cask beer. I'd be much happier if you were to create a deal, an offer that you add value to the beers, making sure that people seem to get or appear to get value for money by adding something, whether it be food or a pie or something that actually adds value. When it comes to quality, guys, no surprises here. I'm just going to obviously remind you because I'm all over it as usual. Just wanted to emphasise a couple of key areas. One is the conditioning of the beer. Please can you make sure that you condition your beer at least 2 or 3 days prior to serving it, i.e. getting rid of the CO2 gas. Otherwise it will foam up and fizz in foam up in the drip trays and you'll waste a lot of beer. So a lot of people think that actually conditioning your beer early actually is the chance of risking infection. No, it won't. The reason why it won't is for the fact you're losing CO2 gas, but it's only when you draw air into the cask that it starts to deteriorate. Secondly, the equipment. Please guys, just to re-emphasise, I know you know this, but re-emphasise the fact that it needs to be super clean. So thinking particularly about taps, thinking about your lines, please just make sure they're really, really clean. Use the right line cleaner, the correct concentration, and for the correct length of time. Particularly the equipment, taps, the floating rods and also the old steel rods. So please make sure they're super clean in line cleaner. Thirdly, just making sure you pour the beer properly. So making sure that whoever's pulling the hand pulls, if the conditioning is right, you make sure that it's a good firm pull, especially if it's a northern pour with a nipple at the bottom of the sparkler of the glass, making sure that it's a proper, good, firm pull. And likewise, if it hasn't got a sparkler on, making sure you drop the beer quite aggressively into the base of the glass to make sure it's aired. And the reason why you do that is because the yeast has deoxygenated the beer whilst in the cask going through its secondary fermentation. Lastly, the glasses. Just make sure they're really clean, as I'm sure you know that if a beer glass is dirty, the heads will collapse particularly quickly with cask ale, as it's very susceptible to that. So just making sure the glasses are really super clean. With that, then all you need to do, make sure you remember it's the 19th to the 29th of September. That's Thursday the 19th to Sunday the 29th for Cask Ale Week, and hopefully have a great time, but also make lots of money.